How do you like my new hairstyle? Handmade, all by myself. Oops. I finished this little skein when I was at my mom's. It is 56 meters of, well, you know, the pollen gold braid. Today I have not as much time to spin as I did on the previous Sundays, because I will be going to my friends later to play some Pathfinder. Now, speaking of friends, since we are all friends here, maybe it is time to answer some of the more personal questions that you had for me. But first, let's switch bobbins, because I had given myself a little head start for this here skein. So one of the more personal questions that was asked, and that I like a lot because it has a certain philosophical je ne sais quoi to it, is if my life was a color, what would be it? I have told you before that my three favorite colors are yellow, orange and green, and I think of those three, if I were to say that I would describe my life as one of those, I would pick green, because picking yellow or orange would dismiss of all the sadness and melancholy I sometimes feel. And yeah, there is some blue in there, but green is also a color of hope. So I do like, I somehow feel it is pointless to do anything if you don't have hope. And that can be small, and then sometimes you should say it's not hope, but it's being naive. Would I have ever started a YouTube channel if I didn't have hope that some people would like it? And then, you know, green is also the liturgical color for the regular Sundays throughout the year. And I like being, or well, having a normal life. Like, I don't need to be the flashiest, most jet-setty, partying person. I like being at home, spinning, crafting, being peaceful, mindful. And green is also the color of nature, and I'm actually a pretty outdoorsy girl. So yeah, if my life was a color, I think I would say it is green. How about you? What would your color of life be? Okay, so a small interlude. I told you at the end of the previous video that I am thinking of a cabled sweater for the Blue Texel yarn. Now, I had like a very specific thing in mind, and it was in my whatever I inherited from my grandmom's craft stuff. It's this Flair's Trend Breiboek. Flair's Trend Breiboek. Oh my god. Trying to talk Dutch when you're in English is difficult. There is not really an exact year on this, but I'm guessing 90s actually. And they have these three models of cropped cabled sweaters, and they're just, I saw this and they still have my entire attention, especially this one. Nice fine cables. Yeah, I think one of these is going to be the Blue Texel, and maybe also the Suffolk, I don't know. That also calls for cables, I think. Okay, interlude over. Another question maybe? I'm actually going to combine two questions, just because I'm rebellious like that. One question asked whether I oftentimes do any kind of reenactments, and another one asked, well, you studied medieval history, can you tell me some fun stuff that you studied? And the question on the reenactment wanted to know what era I choose for reenacting, and well, the other question answers that. I have a healthy, if I say so myself, obsession with the Middle Ages. And that stems from the fact that the Middle Ages are such a mysterious period. Like, they were Catholic, but their Catholicism is so different from ours. We know that they like to play and eat and drink and sing just like we did, but still it feels like a completely different kind of humanity because we know so little about it. So that's why I like the Middle Ages so much, and I really like to, when I was studying, I tried to find the human in my studies. Like for my master's thesis, I studied a particular bishop during the Gregorian Reform. And what was so nice about studying this bishop was that both the papal and imperial sources, while being on extreme sides of the conflict, so not seeing eye to eye on anything, saw eye to eye on one thing, and that was that this particular bishop had a nasty character. That he was angry, had a short fuse, liked to fight. That was my favorite part about my master's thesis, really getting to know this person's personality. And that's not something that you oftentimes learn about people in the Middle Ages. And there was a similar thing in my bachelor paper where I studied the letters that Gerbert d'Aurillac, the future Pope, what's-his-face, wrote in favor of Queen Emma of Italy, even though she was Queen of France, when she was imprisoned by her brother-in-law Charles of Lotharingia. So Gerbert wrote letters to Charles in favor of Emma. And I studied those letters and found one letter where actually Gerbert seems to call Charles a scallywag, which I found odd because in all his other letters to Charles he was very polite. And I also don't, expect a future pope to say scallywag to a duke. So, oh no, that was dangerous. There went my lazy Kate. And how did it happen? One of the leader threads got wrapped around the wheel. Where were we? Yeah, scallywag, praedonibus, the word you use for pirates and bandits. I would call him a scallywag as well. And then just also the really romanticized image that we have of the Middle Ages. There's probably a lot of things why I wouldn't want to live in the Middle Ages, but I'm a weird person. And weird people, neurodivergent people in the Middle Ages, they often were tasked to become shepherds and stuff. I would like to be a shepherd, just being with my flock all day, all night. It's probably really harsh conditions, but you get to spin all the time, you get to travel across mountains. That's also when I do any kind of reenactment, which is very casual. I'm not with a reenactment group, it's just my friends and I who like to play dress up and go to events. I opt for the more peasant type of look. I don't want to be in a royal household. I want to be some weird woman spinning on the side of the road. We're getting so close to finishing the last bit of this. And I'm getting a hang of unsupported long draw. Sometimes I still have to use my right hand, a little bit of help from my right hand, but yeah. Progress in my spinning techniques. It is made. Seriously, is everyone in my neighborhood mowing their lawns right now? Could you not? Think of the bees! Silly lawn culture. I don't normally spin as much as I do right now for Tour de Fleece. But it is true that spinning has overtaken my life, and someone of you have clearly noticed that and asked if I have any hobbies that I used to do a lot more than I do now. And thank you for calling me out like that. I did not need that, but it is true. A lot of my hobbies are on the background now. Like, I used to sew quite a bit, sew a lot of my clothes, but I think it has been a year since I've actually gone into my sewing room and made something substantial. And then I also draw and paint a lot. But lately, maybe like the past 2 years or so, I've only been drawing and painting at art school. Like, I didn't do it at home. So if I didn't go to art school, then that week there would have been no drawing or painting whatsoever, only spinning and or knitting. Like, can you blame me? And also, I don't read as much as I used to. And that seamlessly brings me to the next question, which is, did I finish reading The Way of Kings that I showed you last year that I was reading? And did I then start and finish the rest of the series? Yes, I did finish The Way of Kings. I liked it quite a lot, but I haven't read any of the other books in the Cosmere or in the Stormlight archive. Mainly because there are so many. And I thought, well, if there are so many, then I don't want to buy every book. So I thought, well, the biggest anti-capitalist institution I have near me is my local library, but my local library does not have any Brandon Anderson books, sadly. I also have another series that I started and wanted to continue, but then loaned books from the library, and that was the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, but also there, no luck. So then I kind of got a little bit into a reader's paralysis and didn't know what to read for a while. So then I just started the Fellowship of the Ring again. Like, Lord of the Rings can do with many a reread. So that's what I'm reading at the moment. I'm at the moment reading the Fellowship of the Ring. And this question is funny, because this question was asked by my friend and fellow YouTuber Etienne, who then spoke about books in one of his own Tour de Fleece vlogs, in which I asked, have you read The Name of the Wind? And now he is reading The Name of the Wind, after he read The Way of Kings, and then asked me about The Way of Kings, and then I asked him about The Name of the Wind, and now he's reading The Name of the Wind. Not only a spinfluencer, but a bookfluencer, it seems. Now, about those books. My husband and I are debating getting a Kindle, but before you are going to suggest audiobooks to me, I don't like that. For the very specific reason that I think it is too slow. When I'm reading, I read so much faster than anyone could ever read a book aloud. So I'm annoyed with audiobooks because I know that if it were text, I would be so much faster. So audiobooks are not my jam. So I can't find it in the library. I don't want to buy the books. So we'll probably have to go with ebooks or something. Buying the books would be, you know, just overconsumption because there's a series of 40 plus books. Now, when someone else wanted recommendations for series that I enjoy watching, and boy, oh boy, am I the worst person to ask that to. My husband and I, we follow a lot of YouTubers. So actually our main visual entertainment that we watch on the television is YouTube. We watch a lot of YouTubers and their shenanigans. So yes, we sometimes do watch a series. Like when The Mandalorian came out, we said that before we watched The Mandalorian, we should watch every other Star Wars series already in existence. So we started the Clone Wars and we're now in Rebels. We are in the ultimate season, or maybe the penultimate season. To those who know, it's the one where they all suddenly get a strange makeover. Or well, they've grown up, quote unquote. That's where we're at now. We are very in the know about series, clearly. We follow all the latest stuff. Like, ever since we said that we would first watch the other series before The Mandalorian, I think Star Wars and Disney have come up with 5 more series after The Mandalorian or something. Yeah, I think we'll be watching Star Wars until we're dead. That's probably what's going to happen. Hi, it is now Tuesday and we are in the middle of flying. I might have left you a little bit abruptly yesterday, but that's because I had to go to my physical therapy appointment to, you know, hurt my ankle so that it might get stronger so I don't hurt it again. Talking about that, I'm also trying to like strengthen my ankle by treadling with my left foot right now. Because I've noticed that I have like a bigger range of motion with my right foot, and somehow I'm, you know, kind of thinking it might have to do with all my wheels being single treadle wheels and me being very proficient at using my right foot. It's feeling a little bit awkward to actually treadle with my left foot, but it's going better than yesterday, so I hope maybe in the end I'm getting some muscle in my my left ankle so that my ligaments don't have to do anything anymore because they are shit. They are absolute shite. Well, this is bob and chicken territory again. I still got like a little bit of place, but also a few more meters to ply. Let's see if we can get it on the bobbin. Good thing I didn't decide to spin outside. Can you believe that even with all these spring and summer rains, there still is a groundwater deficit in Flanders? Anyway, I do like the sound of rain. It's very relaxing, I find, so maybe I'll fall asleep. You do wake me up when that happens, right? Because I want to kind of finish this skein. I took an hour of work earlier just because I want to finish this skein so that I can make a 4th one during this Tour de Fleece, because I still have exactly 4 bats carded, and that would be like neat. It would be very neat to have all my prepped Blue Texel bats done by Sunday. It's now Tuesday. It should work. I don't know. Let's see where we get. But right now, let's continue plying and enjoy the ambient of the rain. Ah, man. That really is a tight fitting bobbin. Take a guess. How much meters of yarn would this be? My personal guess is over 400. What do you say? If anyone guessed that this would have been 509.6 meters, you have my everlasting RESDECP, my everlasting Ristekba. It literally is the size of my head. What? If I have been talking about Chungai, this is the Chungus to rule all Chungai. Dang it, 509 meters, that's almost these two combined. So much Blue Texel yarn, I'm so happy with it. That was, in any case, what I have been doing these past couple of days. What have you been doing? Tell me, I am curious. And if you are curious to what Team Chaos Goblin has been doing, it shall be shown now. And as always, if you see an ad in front of their name, this is a social media account that I highly encourage you to check out. And well, all that there is left to say, if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans and want to follow along with the rest of Tour de Fleece, like the final days, sadly, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in the next vlog. Bye!